Chapter 1. The Weight of Silence and the Fire Within. There comes a moment, not marked by a clock or a calendar, but by the stillness in your soul, when the world grows unbearably quiet. Not the comforting silence of peace, but the deafening absence of meaning. The noise of others fades, but it is not replaced with clarity. Only questions. The kind that haunt you. The kind that press against your chest in the middle of the night when no one's watching. Who am I becoming? Why does it feel like I'm drifting, not driving? That silence, it's not empty. It's full. Full of the conversations you've never had with yourself. Full of the potential you've buried beneath doubt, distraction, and duty. Full of everything you were born with but forgot to carry. And in that silence, something begins to stir. A faint ember beneath the rubble of conformity, expectation, and fear. You weren't born to drift. No child stares at the stars thinking, I hope I blend in. No soul is forged in the image of the divine just to become a shadow of itself. But somewhere along the way, the world taught you to shrink. They told you to sit down. Wait your turn. Play safe. Stay realistic. They rewarded your obedience and punished your edge. They handed you blueprints for a life they wouldn't dare build for themselves. And yet, here you are. Listening not because you want inspiration, but because you want ignition. You want the truth spoken out loud, even if it cuts. Especially if it cuts. Because deep down, you already know, something has to change. Not tomorrow. Not when you're ready. You must focus on you, not selfishly, but sacredly. This is not indulgence. This is responsibility. The world doesn't get better when you hide. It gets better when you rise. When you remember who the hell you are. When you stop handing your life away in tiny pieces and start reclaiming it like the treasure it's always been. And that begins in the mind, the first battlefield. Because until you learn to command your thoughts, they will command you. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not the voice that says you can't. Think of Edison, the boy they said was too stupid to learn anything. The one who was pulled from school and taught at home. The one who failed 1,000 times before he gave the world electric light. He did not bow to failure. He made it his furnace. He melted every rejection, every doubt, every insult into fuel. Not rage. Not vengeance. Just quiet, relentless focus. That's the mindset you need, not positivity, but conviction. Not mantras, but mentality. Not affirmations, but actions. This world is carved by those who believe deeply enough to go through hell for what they want. And no, not because they're masochists, but because they understand there is no way around the fire. Only through it. And on the other side? Not just a better life, a better self. Carnegie was not born into greatness. He was born into a single-room weaver's cottage in Dunfermline, Scotland. He arrived in America with nothing. He worked in factories, earned pennies a week, and lived on bread and water. But while his body labored, his mind sharpened. He read. He studied. He envisioned. He didn't complain about the cards he was dealt. He played them better than anyone at the table. And you? You are not the exception to greatness. You are the proof it can rise again. If you want more, you must become more. That is the law. The timeless, merciless, beautiful law of life. There are no shortcuts. Only sacrifices and standards. And the standard starts with this. Stop negotiating with your potential. Your mind will offer you bargains, soft compromises wrapped in comfortable lies. You've done enough today. You deserve a break. You can try again next week. These are not whispers of kindness. They are cages in disguise. Understand this, clarity is not found in contemplation. It is found in commitment. Clarity doesn't come before the leap. It comes after. It is earned in motion. It's like Walt Disney walking through a swamp in Florida, pointing at an empty wasteland and saying, that's where the magic kingdom goes. People called him insane. But he saw it before it existed. He built it before it made sense. He understood that vision is not granted to the crowd. It is given to the one who dares to dream while building in silence. So stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for perfect. Stop waiting for everyone to believe in you. Believe in you. Because belief is not some magical force. It is a choice made every day in the face of contradiction. It is the discipline to trust what you cannot yet see. You want results? Plant the seeds. You want transformation? Dig the roots. You want legacy? Bleed for it in private long before anyone claps. This isn't glamorous. It isn't easy. But neither was building Rome. Neither was crossing the Atlantic. Neither was anything that mattered. There is a reason the eagle does not fly in flocks. You were not designed to move with the herd. You were born to soar above it. But that kind of flight requires solitude. Not loneliness, solitude. The kind where you become intimate with your own thoughts. The kind where you stop outsourcing your validation and start crafting your character. That's where real growth happens. Not in the applause, in the absence of it. That's what Lincoln understood as he wrestled with the weight of a nation on the brink of collapse. Alone in the White House, writing by candlelight, his mind burdened by war and legacy, he still chose to lead. Not because it was easy, but because the alternative was cowardice. So ask yourself, are you willing to walk alone when no one understands you? Are you willing to work in silence when no one praises you? Are you willing to sacrifice comfort to become the person you were born to be? Because if not, you'll spend your life building someone else's dream, validating someone else's fears, and regretting someone else's choices. But if yes, then everything changes. Because you will stop chasing and start creating. You will stop performing and start becoming. You will stop doubting and start dominating. Not from arrogance. Not from ego. But from alignment. A deep, unshakable knowing that you were made for more, and now, finally, you are acting like it. So sharpen your focus like a blade. Point it inward, not outward. Because the enemy is not the economy. It's not the algorithm. It's not your competition. It's the part of you that still doesn't believe it's possible. The part of you still seduced by excuses and stories you didn't even write. Rewrite them. Focus on you. Ruthlessly. Relentlessly. Sacredly. Because you are not a bystander in your own life. You are the author. And every single choice is a sentence. Every habit is a paragraph. Every year is a chapter. And one day, it becomes your legacy. So what will it say? Will it say you played safe? Or will it say you broke through? Will it say you blamed the world? Or that you rebuilt yourself? Will it say you waited for greatness? Or that you forged it, bled for it, became it? The page is blank. The ink is warm. The pen is in your hand. Now write like your life depends on it. Because it does. Chapter 2. Burn the old map, find the mountain within. There comes a point on every journey where the road vanishes beneath your feet. The familiar turns to fog. The signs go blank. And suddenly, you're not just walking forward, you're carving the path as you go. This is not failure. This is not misdirection. This is the threshold. The precise moment the old map no longer applies, because you're no longer who you were when you drew it. You feel lost, not because you've strayed, but because you've outgrown your coordinates. The same way Ford outgrew the rules of industry, back when cars were a luxury for the elite and no one could dream of machines for the masses. He looked at a world shaped by horse-drawn carriages and decided it was time to end an era. He burned the old map and built a new world. One part at a time, one assembly line at a time, one relentless vision at a time. And you? Yes, you're standing at the same precipice. Only this isn't about engines. This is about energy. Your energy. Your life force. And how you've been spending it like it's infinite, instead of investing it like it's sacred. Because that's what focus really is. It's not some productivity hack or trendy life tip. It's a spiritual decision. A declaration that says, this one life matters enough that I will not dilute it for anything that doesn't deserve me. You want power? Cut the cords. Cut the fake friendships that drain. Cut the constant scrolling that numbs. Cut the mental loops that replay your failures like a broken record. And while you're at it, cut the need to explain yourself to people who've never dared to dream. Because if you're always explaining, you're never becoming. You were not born to justify your growth to people committed to staying the same. Look at the greats. The giants. The ones whose names ripple through time like thunder. They all went through this valley. Every one of them. Oprah was fired from her news anchor job. They said she was unfit for television. Einstein was labeled mentally slow by his teachers. Disney was told he lacked imagination. Steve Jobs was kicked out of the very company he created. Muhammad Ali was banned from boxing in his prime because he stood for something greater than a title. Yet they didn't collapse. They didn't conform. They recalibrated. They went inward, stripped down the noise, and found the mountain within. The place no one can see, but everyone feels when you finally climb it. That mountain? It's not outside. It's in your mind, your will, your soul. And the summit isn't measured in miles. It's measured in moments. Moments where you choose to rise instead of retreat, to grind instead of grumble, to silence the world, so you can hear yourself again. Because clarity is not found by adding more. It's found by removing everything that's not aligned. That's the secret to building a new life. Subtraction, not addition. Not more books, more advice, more strategies, more input. Less noise, more truth. And that truth begins with identity. Who are you when everything fades? Who are you when no one's watching? Who are you when there's nothing to prove and everything to lose? If your answer is unclear, then your mission is urgent. Because until you define yourself, the world will keep assigning you roles you never asked to play. The good student. The reliable employee. The one who always says yes. The one who never makes waves. But history was never made by those who fit in. History is a rebellion against mediocrity. It is the roar of someone who refused to be muted. You want transformation? Start saying no. No to distraction. No to delay. No to dreams deferred for the sake of comfort. And in that no, you will finally create space for your yes. Your real yes. The yes to vision. The yes to purpose. The yes to the version of you that you buried beneath layers of expectation and fear and social choreography. That version of you is not weak. It is not confused. It is not broken. It is buried. Under schedules. Under labels. Under timelines you never agreed to. But make no mistake, it is still alive. It is the voice you hear when the world goes quiet. The one that whispers, you were made for more. The one that doesn't care how long it's been. Or how far you've strayed. Or how many mistakes you've made. The one that says, rise anyway. And you must. Because if you don't, you'll betray the deepest part of yourself. And betrayal of self is the most painful failure of all. No critic can wound you like the realization that you could have gone further, but you didn't. That the fire was there, but you let it die. That the talent was real, but you left it unshaped. But here's the grace in all of this. The fire can be relit. The path can be rebuilt. And the most powerful moment in your life can still be the next one. You just have to choose it. Choose the mountain. Not because it's easy, but because it's yours. Not because it's popular, but because it's true. The crowd takes the path of least resistance. The creator takes the path of maximum alignment. And yes, that path will cost you. It will cost your comfort. It will cost your certainty. It will cost your illusion of control. But what it gives you in return? Unshakable identity. Unstoppable drive. Unbreakable self-trust. And once you have those things, no one can take them. Because you earned them. You bled for them. You became them. And that's what leveling up really means. It's not about status. It's not about status symbols. It's about standards. It's about becoming the kind of person whose very presence changes the room, not because they're loud, but because they're clear. So let this be the moment. Not where you wait. Not where you plan. Not where you hope. But where you decide. Decide to burn the old map. Decide to build the new one. Decide to become what you were always meant to be, not by chance, but by choice. The choice to focus on you. Not in ego, but in reverence. Because when you become everything you're capable of becoming, the world doesn't just watch. It changes. Chapter 3. Belief is the seed, grow it or die waiting. Some people wait their whole lives for a sign. Some flash of light, some booming voice from above, some cosmic signal to tell them, now is the time. But here's the truth most never accept. There is no sign coming. The call will not echo from the mountaintops. The message will not appear in the stars. And fate does not knock, it waits. Silently, sternly, watching to see if you are ready to move without proof. Because belief, true belief, is not a response to evidence. It's a demand for creation. It is the invisible seed you must bury in the soil of the unknown and water daily with faith, even when there is no sign of life. That seed lives in you. But you have to make the choice to grow it, or you will die waiting for someone else to do it for you. You must believe in yourself so irrationally that it scares people. Because if your belief fits neatly into other people's expectations, it's not belief, it's compliance. Look at Tesla. Not Elon, Nikola. He died alone, penniless, misunderstood. They laughed at his ideas, called him mad, mocked his vision of wireless energy, of inventions that could shake the very foundations of civilization. But now he's a prophet. Now we build cities on the back of his madness. Now his name lights up the world, literally. Because belief isn't about being right in the moment. It's about being so aligned with the future that the present can't contain you. That kind of belief will break you before it builds you. It will test every piece of your resolve. And you must be willing to be broken, so that something stronger can emerge. That's the paradox. Belief doesn't protect you from pain. It guarantees it. But it also gives you the reason to keep going when pain is all you can see. It gives you eyes in the dark, wings in the storm, fire in the freezing. And while the world sleeps, while it waits for external validation, you'll be grinding in the shadows. Not for applause, not for praise, but because you've seen it. The vision, the truth, the life on the other side of your discipline. Belief is not passive. It is not a warm feeling. It is savage. It is the heartbeat of every revolution, the blood in every breakthrough, the soul of every person who refused to settle for what is and fought for what could be. You think Carnegie didn't feel like quitting when he was 13, working 12-hour shifts in a dark cotton mill? You think Harriet Tubman didn't feel fear clawing at her throat as she smuggled souls to freedom night after night, with a bounty on her head? You think Mandela didn't battle doubt in the corners of his cell, year after year, wondering if the world had forgotten him? They all faced that silence. That moment where belief felt like a lie. But they stayed. They stood. And from that stand, the world changed. So what are you waiting for? Permission? Approval? A sign from the heavens? You are the sign. You are the miracle wrapped in flesh and breath and time. You are the proof that the impossible is possible, if only you believe hard enough to move before it makes sense. But belief without action is a lie. Don't just say it. Show it. Don't just dream it. Do it. That means waking up early when no one's watching. It means saying no to instant pleasure because legacy is on the line. It means sacrificing popularity for principle. It means building the version of yourself that no one claps for yet, but you know is coming. You want to be legendary? Then learn this now. The legends are forged in silence. While others post, they build. While others whine, they work. While others doubt, they do. Because belief isn't words, it's a warrior's posture. It's how you show up when your bank account is empty but your spirit isn't. When no one believes in you, but you believe anyway. You must become delusional in your vision and disciplined in your execution. But belief also demands one thing most people run from: clarity. You can't just want more. You must know what you want, and why it must be you. That why, it must burn like a fever. It must haunt you in your sleep. It must reorder your entire life around its flame. Do not build your life on lukewarm goals. Do not climb a ladder only to find it's leaning on the wrong wall. Your belief must be precise. Not, I want success. But I will build a life where my talent becomes a force of nature, and I will not stop until I do. Define it. Speak it. Write it. Obsess over it. Because the universe does not respond to vague desires. It bends for those who demand reality to match their inner vision. That's how Disney built an empire, not from money, but from obsession. That's how Martin Luther King Jr. moved a nation, not with politics, but with a dream. That's how Beyoncé dominates a stage, not by accident, but by deliberate, uncompromising belief in the woman she decided to become. So decide. Decide now, not just to believe, but to build like you believe. Burn the fallback plans. Eliminate the back doors. Refuse the mediocrity that comes disguised as balance. This is not about balance. This is about becoming fire. Burn through excuses. Burn through fear. Burn through comfort like it's paper in your path. Because the life you want isn't waiting behind some lucky break. It's waiting behind 1,000 ordinary days where you show up extraordinarily. And yes, it will be lonely. It will be hard. But one day, it will be worth it. Not just for what you gain, but for who you become in the process. That version of you? The one on the other side of the storm? They don't beg. They don't explain. They embody. They are the living proof that belief, when backed by brutal self-honesty, unwavering discipline, and a hunger that outlasts rejection, always wins. So focus on you. Until you win. And then, level up. Chapter 4. Vision carves the future. Without it, you're just surviving. Most people are not living. They're surviving. They wake up, not to build a future, but to maintain a routine. They rise, not with purpose, but with pressure. Bills, emails, deadlines, small talk. The endless loop of obligation dressed up as a life. But the soul knows. It knows the difference between existence and destiny. And it starts screaming the moment you start ignoring your vision. You weren't designed to punch a clock and call it success. You weren't made to move in circles. You were built to carve forward, through the fog, through the doubt, through the weight of everything that told you to settle. Because without vision, you're not living your life, you're renting someone else's. That's what the greats understood. The true creators. The world shapers. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't just march, he saw the mountaintop. Jobs didn't just sell devices. He imagined tools that would put the universe in your pocket. Helen Keller couldn't see or hear, but her vision rang louder than anyone's sight or sound. Vision is not what you see. Vision is what you know, even when your eyes lie. Even when your circumstances scream, impossible. And if your vision doesn't terrify you, it's not a vision. It's a wish. Because vision isn't comfortable. It's dangerous. It threatens every excuse you've ever made. It sets fire to mediocrity and dares you to rebuild yourself from ash. And yet, it's the only thing that can make your life yours again. Understand this. Vision does not come from the outside. It is not inherited. It is not gifted. It is dug up one brutal, beautiful layer at a time. It is found in the silence. In the discipline. In the sacred moments when you disconnect from the noise of the world and reconnect with what's calling you. Because something is calling you. It always has been. Since the beginning. You heard it when you were a child, before the world taught you to mute your intuition. You saw it in your mind when no one was watching. But then life piled on, expectations, limitations, practicalities, and suddenly, your vision became a liability. Be realistic. Don't dream too big. Play it safe. Safe is the death of destiny. Realism is the enemy of vision. Because realistic, people build cages, and visionaries build kingdoms. So if you want to build something real, something enduring, something that outlasts you, you need to go inward. Tonight, this moment, close your eyes and see it. Not what they want for you. Not what looks good on paper. But what haunts you when you're alone. What wakes you up in the middle of the night not with anxiety, but with urgency. See it. Hold it. Write it. Claim it. And once you have it, protect it like your life depends on it. Because it does. Vision, once birthed, is fragile. It will be attacked by small minds. It will be dismissed by the uninspired. It will be laughed at by those who gave up on their own dreams. But you must not flinch. You must fortify it. You must build walls around your why. Not walls of isolation, walls of intention. So that nothing slips through that does not serve the future you've committed to creating. Because if you don't build your vision, you will spend your life helping someone else build theirs. Let that land. If you do not own your life, someone else will rent it for cheap. And they'll offer you just enough comfort to keep you complacent. Just enough praise to keep you obedient. Just enough distractions to keep you asleep. But inside you, there's a builder. A rebel. A king. A queen. A force of nature born to create, not just consume. You were not meant to follow a script. You were meant to write a manifesto, with your blood, your breath, your sweat, and your scars. So what do you see? Not want, not hope, but see. Do you see yourself speaking on stages or building an empire? Do you see yourself breaking generational curses or writing words that live beyond your body? Do you see yourself creating a movement, raising a family of warriors, becoming the leader your younger self begged for? Then don't wait. Build it. One day at a time. One act of clarity after another. One bulletproof decision followed by 1,000 disciplined ones. Because vision is not just a dream. It's a contract with the future. And every single day you delay, you're breaching that contract. But when you honor it, when you live in alignment with your vision, something changes. The air feels different. The pain feels productive. The struggle starts to sculpt you. Discipline becomes devotion. Sacrifice becomes sacred. And time stops slipping through your fingers because you're finally moving in rhythm with your purpose. That's the power of vision. It doesn't just inspire you, it orders your steps. It tells you what to say yes to, what to burn, what to build, what to become. And if you want to level up, you can't just want more. You must see more. You must expect more. You must embody more. Because the world does not bend for the one who waits. It bends for the one who moves. So move. Declare your vision. Build your vision. Be your vision. Until every step you take leaves echoes behind you. Until every breath you draw is sacred, because it carries intention. Until the world no longer asks what you're doing, because it can see what you've become. That is the power of vision. And that is how you rise. Chapter 5. Purpose is a battle cry, not a buzzword. Purpose is not some soft, poetic idea meant to be embroidered on pillows or posted under sunsets. Purpose is war. It is a battle cry forged in silence and sharpened in storms. It does not come gift-wrapped. It arrives demanding. And if you think you can stroll your way into purpose without bleeding for it, you're not looking for purpose, you're looking for applause. Purpose does not pat you on the back. It grabs you by the collar and drags you into yourself. It demands that you remember who you are, not by fantasy, but by fire. Because you will never find purpose in what's easy. You will find it in what tests you. In what breaks you open. In what demands every cell in your body rise up and respond. It is the thread running through every scar you carry, whispering, "This pain had a point. Now use it." Think of Viktor Frankl, a man who lived through hell on earth, locked behind barbed wire, surrounded by death, stripped of everything. And still he found purpose. Not despite his suffering, but through it. He didn't escape pain, he gave it meaning. He didn't erase his trauma, he transformed it into testimony. He said, "Those who have a to live can bear almost any how." So what is your why? What pain have you run from that might actually be the foundation of your power? Because here's the truth. Purpose is not found in passion. It's forged in pressure. You will not find your purpose lounging in ease. You will find it when your back is against the wall, your breath is heavy, and every voice inside you says, "Quit," and you respond, "Not today." Purpose is what makes the suffering sacred. It turns wounds into weapons. It turns weakness into wisdom. It turns the chaos of your story into clarity for someone else's survival. When you live with purpose, you become a lighthouse, not because your life is perfect, but because your light never goes out, even when the storm rages. And yes, that means people will look at you differently. Some will envy you. Some will attack you. Some will try to pull you back to the version of yourself they feel comfortable with. But your purpose is not their prison. And you owe them nothing if they cannot see what you're building. This is your calling. And you don't need a stage. You don't need 1,000,000 followers. You don't need the world to understand. You just need to answer the call. The mistake most people make is thinking purpose is supposed to feel good. Purpose isn't about comfort. It's about consequence. It's about understanding that what you do with your life matters. To the people watching you. To the ones who'll never meet you, but will be changed by you. To the child inside you who's still waiting for the adult version to rise. So get serious. Get dangerous in your intention. Become unshakable in your integrity. Because when you're living in purpose, you're not just existing, you're leading. And you don't have to wait to lead. You lead by how you show up. You lead by how you treat people when no one's watching. You lead by how you keep your word when no one else holds you to it. Purpose is about being fully accountable to the future you were born to build. So ask yourself, what am I here to give? Because if your purpose is only about what you want, it's a brand, not a mission. Real purpose bleeds outward. It moves through you into the lives of others. That's why the people who live on purpose never burn out. Because their fuel is bigger than them. They are moved by something they can't always explain, but can never ignore. That's why Kobe Bryant practiced more than anyone else. Not just to win, but because he owed it to the gift he was given. That's why Mother Teresa spent her life in the slums, not for praise, but because compassion called her. That's why Elon Musk sleeps on factory floors. Why Maya Angelou wrote until her final breath. Why Da Vinci sketched until his hands gave out. They didn't chase purpose. They surrendered to it. And that's what you must do now. Surrender. Not to fear. Not to comfort. But to your calling. Strip away the distractions. Burn the mess. Look yourself in the eye and ask what you're really here for. Are you here to impress? Or are you here to impact? Are you here to survive? Or are you here to lead generations forward by the way you show up in this one? Because once you know what you're here for, the noise dies. The pressure fades. And your decisions become sharp. Precise. Non-negotiable. You stop trying to do everything. You stop trying to be everyone. You lock in on your mission and let the rest burn. Purpose will give you a spine. You won't fold when the wind hits. You won't chase when people leave. You won't flinch when they mock, or doubt, or disappear. You'll stand. Because you're not wandering anymore. You're walking on assignment. And that assignment may not be easy. It may not even be understood. But it will be yours. And nothing can take that from you once you claim it. So claim it. Own it. Live it. Not tomorrow. Not when the timing's right. Because purpose doesn't wait. It doesn't beg. It doesn't whisper. It roars. And if you're still enough, real enough, brave enough, you'll hear it. And once you do, there is no going back. Chapter 6. Discipline is divine. Build it or be broken without it. There's a lie they fed you. That motivation is what you need. That feeling good is the path forward. That inspiration will carry you to the top. But let me tell you the truth that every world shaker, every titan, every soul that ever carved their name into the walls of time already knows. Discipline is divine. Without it, you are a slave to your feelings. With it, you are a master of your fate. Because motivation fades. Passion wavers. But discipline endures, like granite against the storm. Discipline is the spine of greatness. And if your dreams don't have one, they will collapse under the weight of excuses. Look at the lives of giants. The ones whose names echo beyond generations. Jocko Willink, the Navy SEAL commander who trains his life around the words, discipline equals freedom. He doesn't rise at 4:30 a.m. because it's a trend. He does it because he refuses to be ruled by comfort. Dwayne Johnson didn't build an empire with genetics and charm. He built it with 4 a.m. iron sessions, 18-hour workdays, and a level of consistency that crushes excuses before breakfast. Michael Jordan didn't just want to win, he needed to. So he built his life like a fortress. Practice. Rehearsal. Repetition. Obsession. The shots in the gym no one saw. The hours that didn't trend. The cold, brutal mastery of repetition. That's discipline. And it's not sexy. It's not cinematic. But it's unshakable. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. It's the long game. The inner code. The silent agreement between who you are and who you're becoming. It's the voice that says, no, we don't skip today. No, we don't negotiate with laziness. No, we don't shrink back when the world's asleep. Because the real ones don't need to be watched. They don't need applause. They hold themselves to the highest standard in the room, even if they're the only one in it. They don't need perfect conditions. They don't wait for mood. They move in mission mode, regardless of what the day throws at them. That's the mindset that outlives trends. That's the power that separates the momentary spark from the eternal flame. If you want to build a kingdom, discipline is the bricks. If you want to become unshakable, discipline is the steel in your bones. If you want to reach the top, discipline is the price of entry. There is no shortcut. And there's no such thing as too tired when your destiny is on the line. There's no off days for your calling. There's no cheat days when you're building something sacred. Discipline is a daily act of reverence, a way of telling the world, I respect my future too much to betray it today. And here's the hard truth. You're already disciplined. The question is, what are you disciplined to? Scrolling? Complaining? Excuses? Waking up late, skipping the hard things, always waiting for motivation? That's discipline too, it's just to the wrong master. Every habit you've built has been rehearsed. Every excuse you use is a script you've memorized. So don't say you're undisciplined, say you've been committed to the wrong code. And that code can be rewritten. But it won't happen through feeling like it. It happens by training your soul to show up without negotiation. Think of David Goggins, the man who redefined what the body and mind can endure. Hundreds of miles run. SEAL training. Ultramarathons with broken bones. Not because he's superhuman, but because he refused to be average again. He talks about the cookie jar, the place in his mind where he stores every hardship he's overcome. And when the pain rises, when the voice in his head starts begging him to quit, he reaches into that jar, pulls out the memory, and keeps moving. That's discipline. That's self-mastery. That's the muscle you need to train every single day until it leads your life. So what's your practice? When do you train? How do you eat? How do you speak to yourself when no one's around? These aren't small questions. These are life-altering rituals. Your routine is either a slow suicide or a silent revolution. It's either shaping you into your future or dragging you away from it. And you don't rise to your potential, you fall to your systems. So build them. Reinforce them. Obsess over them like your life depends on it, because it does. Every moment you choose discipline, you're declaring, I am becoming the person who can carry the weight of my vision. Every time you say no to ease and yes to effort, you're building armor. Not just for you, for the version of you who's going to lead others through fire. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop chasing motivation like it's a drug. And train your spirit like a warrior sharpens a blade. Wake up with purpose. Move with precision. Speak with integrity. Follow through like the world depends on it. Because your world does. Your family. Your legacy. Your unborn potential. Your next level. They're all watching. Waiting. Not for your mood. For your discipline. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It only cares about what you build. So build something that outlives your name. Build a body that can carry purpose. Build a mind that cannot be shaken. Build habits that act like heat-seeking missiles toward your destiny. And in the moments when it gets hard, and it will get hard, remember this. You were not born soft. You were born sacred. You were born precise. You were born with everything you need to become a storm in human form. Now prove it. Not with emotion. Not with inspiration. With discipline. Chapter 7. Action is the antidote. Move or be moved. Thoughts without action are prisons. Dreams without movement are lies we whisper to ourselves to feel better in the short term, while killing our future one idle day at a time. You want transformation? Don't think your way there. Because action is the antidote to everything that's holding you back. Fear? Crushed by movement. Drowned in momentum. Insecurity? Silenced by execution. You don't need to be more confident. You don't need to be more educated. You don't need permission. You need to move. To act. To do. Every excuse you've been telling yourself for why you're not ready, it's a lie. The truth is, you're not supposed to feel ready. Readiness is not a prerequisite for action. It's a result of it. You think Edison waited for clarity before lighting up the world? He moved. Experimented. Failed again. 10,000 failures later, the room was glowing. Because action is a hammer. And every time you swing it, even if you miss, you're breaking down resistance. Most people freeze at the edge of change. They stand still, hoping clarity will rescue them from discomfort. But clarity doesn't rescue you. Action does. Because life doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you do. Want to feel different? Do different. Want a new identity? Act like the person you want to become before you feel like them. Don't just write goals. Live them. Get up early even when it hurts. Make the call even if your voice shakes. Finish the rep even when your arms scream. Post the content even if no one claps. You want to change your life? Then change your habits. Change your routines. Change your reflexes. And the only way to do that is to move. Again. And again. And again. Until action becomes your default setting. Until forward becomes your only direction. This world does not reward ideas. It rewards execution. You could be the next Tesla, the next Angelou, the next Picasso. But if your vision stays locked inside you, it will rot. And the world will go on, never knowing what you could have been. That's the tragedy. Not that you failed, but that you never even started. So start now. No matter how small, how imperfect, how messy, move. Build before you feel ready. Speak before your voice is perfect. Act before the fear has vanished. Because the pain of imperfect action is temporary. But the pain of never knowing who you could have become? That lasts forever. Think of Abraham Lincoln, unremarkable beginnings, defeat after defeat, public failure after public failure. He could have stopped at any point and no one would have blamed him. But he moved forward. He kept getting up. He kept running toward the storm. And that relentless forward motion shaped a presidency that changed the course of history. And here you are, facing your own crossroad, your own hesitation, that fork in the road where one path leads to more delay, and the other leads to everything you were born to become. Don't overthink. Don't stall. Don't wait for every light to turn green. Start walking. Let the movement illuminate the path. Your dreams are not waiting on the right time. They're waiting on the right version of you. The version that acts, that moves, that shows up even without a perfect plan. Because plans can fail. But decisive movement? That rewrites your destiny. You don't need massive leaps every day. You just need undeniable motion. Let the others scroll. Let them debate. Let them wait for next Monday. You move. While they wait, you build. While they watch, you work. While they hope, you execute. Because hope is not a strategy. Waiting is not a plan. And comfort is not your companion on the road to greatness. Action births results. Action builds belief. Action attracts momentum like gravity. The universe bends for those who keep putting one foot in front of the other. Especially when it hurts, especially when it's dark, especially when no one else claps. That's when your next level is being built. In the trenches. Not in your head, on the field. So if you're stuck, take the smallest possible action. Write the sentence. Go to the gym. Open the laptop. Make the pitch. Break the silence. Push the weight. Post the video. Say what needs to be said. Then do it again tomorrow. And again the day after that. Because if you don't move, life will move you. And not in the direction you want. This is your warning. This is your reminder. This is your war drum. There's no more time to wait for perfect. Move with clarity or confusion. Move with fear or with fire. Move with tears in your eyes or rage in your bones. But move. Because the world isn't changed by those who almost did. It's changed by the ones who did it anyway. Chapter 8. Gratitude is fuel. Use it or starve on success. You've been taught to hustle. To grind. To break through walls with your bare hands. And you should. Because the world doesn't hand crowns to cowards. But if you forget gratitude, if you lose the ability to see the gift inside the grind, then your success will turn to ashes in your mouth. Gratitude is not weakness. Gratitude is fuel. It's the fire beneath the fire. It's what separates those who rise and stay risen from those who build empires on bitterness and collapse under the weight of what they chased. Because the real ones, the ones who last, don't just want more. They honor what they already have. Even if it's not perfect. Even if it's not enough yet. Even if it's nothing more than a spark in the rubble. That's what kept Nelson Mandela sane. 27 years in prison. 27 years of steel bars and silence. But he still found something to be grateful for. The breath in his lungs, the beat of his heart, the hope in his bones. That's not delusion. That's dominion. Because gratitude is not about pretending everything's okay. It's about reclaiming power, even when nothing around you reflects it. When you can look around at chaos and still say, I'm alive. I'm here. I've still got breath, and that means I've still got power. That is what makes you dangerous. The undisciplined mind will always look for lack. The disciplined heart looks for light. And once you find it, you fan it. Because gratitude is a choice. Not a reflex. Not a mood. A choice. A weapon. A lens that turns every failure into fertilizer, every delay into design, every setback into setup. Without it, you starve on success. You'll get what you thought you wanted, and still feel empty. You'll cross the finish line and feel nothing. You'll keep building, chasing, consuming, and still wonder why your soul feels bankrupt. But with gratitude, even small victories feel sacred. Even quiet days feel golden. Even struggle starts to taste like purpose. You must learn to give thanks while you build. Gratitude is not the reward, it's the ritual. It's the muscle that teaches you to keep showing up without resentment. To keep pouring into your goals without poisoning them with entitlement. Because you're not owed anything. No matter how talented you are. No matter how hard you work. The world doesn't pay you because you're gifted. It pays you when your gift meets gratitude, and you serve it. Serve with excellence. Serve with joy. Serve with reverence. That's when doors open that talent alone could never unlock. Think of Frederick Douglass. Born into slavery. Taught himself to read. Fought his way into freedom. He didn't rise because the world made room for him. He rose because he made room for purpose inside himself. And even then, in the face of injustice, hatred, and chains, he gave thanks. For every step. Every moment of clarity. Every tool he could use to free another soul. That's the level of gratitude that turns pain into legacy. So ask yourself, are you still bitter about where you are? Or are you building with gratitude for every inch you've gained? Because that bitterness will block the blessings. That bitterness will rot your vision. That bitterness will turn your dream into a burden. But gratitude? Gratitude sharpens you. It sanctifies the hustle. It lets you suffer with dignity, win with humility, and lead with humanity. Gratitude is not just for the good days. It's especially for the hard ones. It's how you keep your head up when no one's watching. It's how you keep moving forward when no one's clapping. It's how you honor the pain without becoming it. And the more you practice it, the more power you gain. Because the mind can't spiral into lack when the heart is rooted in thanks. So here's the challenge. Before you chase the next win, first, breathe. Look around. Name what's working. Name what's sacred. Name what's holding you up that you forgot to see. The lungs you didn't have to buy. The mind that can still think. The hands that can still build. The time you still have left. This moment, right now, it's not a placeholder. It's not wasted. It's fuel. If you honor it. Because if you can learn to be grateful here, in the mess, in the grind, in the middle of not yet, then when your success comes, and it will come if you keep going, you won't just win. You'll carry the weight of your victory without cracking. Gratitude is your anchor. Gratitude is your guardrail. Gratitude is your armor in a world that worships speed, noise, and empty trophies. So wear it like a warrior, and never let the pressure of where you're going make you blind to how far you've already come. You are alive. You are chosen. You are rising. Give thanks. Then level up. Chapter 9. Adapt or die. Evolve with the storm. The world will not slow down for your comfort. It will not pause to let you catch your breath. It does not care how things used to be. The world is movement. And you, if you wish to rise, must move with it. Adaptation is not optional. It is the price of survival. But even more than that, it's the threshold of greatness. Because nothing legendary was ever born from stagnation. The future does not belong to the strongest. It belongs to the ones who evolve the fastest. Nature is ruthless in its lessons. The meteor didn't kill the dinosaurs. Their refusal to adapt did. Change comes. Boys. It doesn't knock. It doesn't ask. It arrives, uninvited, indifferent to your plans. And in that moment, you have a choice. Break down. Or break through. And let me be clear, adaptation is not passive. It is not about accepting your fate. It's about redefining it. It is a dance with disruption. It is a marriage with momentum. It is the decision to bend reality into your favor, even when everything around you is shattering. Think of Charles Darwin. Not the strongest, not the biggest, but the one who understood, it is not the strongest species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. That's the secret. Adaptation is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more of who you're supposed to be, stripped of rigidity, freed from fear, fluid in purpose. It is the art of shedding what no longer serves. Not with regret, but with reverence. Your plan fell apart? Now build without the blueprint. Now test your creativity. Now flex your genius. Your environment changed? Then change with it. Reinvent. Recalibrate. Reignite. You think Steve Jobs didn't adapt when Apple fired him? He could have quit. Instead, he founded Next, resurrected Pixar, and came back sharper than ever. Because vision is nothing without evolution. And evolution only happens when you face the storm head-on. Here's the truth you need to face. If your identity is rooted in things staying the same, then you are building a version of yourself that is already obsolete. Because everything will change. The markets, the platforms, the trends, the culture, your relationships, your body, yourself. And if you cannot flex, bend, and expand with that truth, you will break beneath it. But if you can learn to flow, if you can embrace the shift instead of fearing it, you become unshakable. Adaptation is the mindset of mastery. It says, throw me into chaos, I will still create. Take away the tool, I will become the tool. Change the rules, I will build my own game. This is what warriors understand. Not all battles are fought with swords. Some are fought with sharpened minds. You think Bruce Lee taught combat just to throw punches? No, he taught principle. Be like water, he said. Formless. Fluid. Able to crash or flow. That's what adaptation looks like. That's how you survive when everyone else is stuck reminiscing about what worked 5 years ago. Do not idolize stability. Do not cling to routines like they are religion. Let them go when they stop serving your growth. Because the goal is not to stay the same. The goal is to stay aligned. And that requires change. Discomfort is your signal. Confusion is your compass. And what feels unfamiliar today may be the key to your next level. But only if you lean into it. Only if you say, I'm not afraid to evolve. I'm not loyal to comfort. I am a creature of forward motion, and nothing can hold me. So ask yourself, are you married to your methods? Or committed to your mission? Because if the method fails, good. Now you find another. You do it faster, better, smarter. You don't stop. You don't sulk. You adapt. The brand changes. The team changes. The rules change. You change. Not your values. Not your purpose. But your form. Like wind shaping rock. Like rivers carving canyons. Like fire creating steel. This is how legends stay relevant. Not because they had the answers, but because they stayed in motion. They knew how to let go of what was, so they could make space for what must be. So you want to level up? Then stop fearing the pivot. Stop clinging to what no longer aligns. Stop waiting for normal to return. This is the new normal. Chaotic, uncertain, fast. And that's where you thrive. You thrive because you don't break under pressure. You reshape it. You don't fear the fire. You forge inside it. You don't resist the evolution. You become it. So now the question isn't, will things change? The question is, will you? Because the storm is already here. And it's not waiting for you to feel ready. Evolve. Not just to survive, but to dominate, to create, to transcend. Because the next level is not given to those who cling. It's given to those who let go and rise anyway. Chapter 10. Resilience is royalty, stay standing or stay stuck. Every kingdom worth building is born in collapse. Before the crown, there is chaos. Before the rise, there is ruin. Before you win, You will be broken, again and again and again. And what separates the crowned from the crushed isn't luck. It's not talent. It's resilience. The stubborn refusal to stay down. The holy defiance that says, you can take my comfort, my plan, my peace, even my strength, but you will not take my will. Resilience is royalty. The mark of someone who didn't ask the world for a throne. They earned it on the battlefield. And no, you don't build it by reading quotes. You don't find it in a book. You forge it in the fire. It's born when the people you love walk away. When the thing you gave your soul to falls apart. When your dream burns to the ground and all you're left with is ashes. And a decision. Do I quit? Or do I build again? That choice? That quiet, violent, sacred choice? That's where your crown is waiting. Lincoln faced defeat 26 times before becoming president. Thomas Edison failed more than 1,000 times before the light turned on. Stephen King threw Carrie in the trash. His wife pulled it out. The lesson? Resilience is not about never falling. It's about never staying down. It's about becoming bulletproof in spirit. Not because life is easy, but because you've decided you are harder to kill than the storm is to survive. Resilience is a conversation you have with yourself in the dark. It's when the world stops clapping. The crowds disappear. The phone goes quiet. And you look yourself in the mirror and say, we keep going. Not for the likes. Not for the validation. But because quitting is a betrayal of everything you've already overcome. You didn't come this far to almost make it. You didn't bleed just to back down when it got hard again. You rise now. Because you've earned it. And here's the truth no one tells you. Resilience doesn't always look like progress. Sometimes it looks like still standing when everything says sit down. Sometimes it looks like trying again when the last 10 tries broke you. Sometimes it's just breathing, with tears on your face and fire in your chest, and whispering, I'm not done yet. That whisper? It's louder than every shout of the ones who quit. It's louder than failure. It's sacred. It's royal. It's the sound of a soul that refuses to die small. Don't chase comfort. Chase capacity. Stretch yourself until you snap. And then rebuild stronger. Fail forward. Fall harder. Get up louder. Because every time you do, you collect proof. Proof that you're not average. Proof that you are becoming. Proof that you are unstoppable in soul, even if your body shakes. Resilience is not the denial of pain. It is permission to turn it into power. Let them mock you. Let them underestimate you. Let them write your obituary before the fight even starts. But when the dust settles, when the applause fades, when the smoke clears, let them see you still standing, with blood on your knuckles, with fire in your lungs, with grit in your veins and purpose in your stare. Because you didn't fold. You forged. And that makes you dangerous. That makes you royalty. So don't measure your greatness by what you've gained. Measure it by what you survived. The betrayals. The breakdowns. The nights you wept alone. The moments when you almost gave up, but didn't. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you a leader. That's what makes you ready to level up. Not because you're invincible, but because you've walked through fire and came out shining. And now, there's nothing they can take from you. Because you built you. From scratch. From scars. From setbacks that would have swallowed a weaker soul whole. You rose. And you'll rise again. And again. And again. Because you are not built to bow. You are built to build. And the ones who keep building, they wear the crown. Chapter 11. Learn like your life depends on it, because it does. If you stop learning, you stop leading. If you stop learning, you stop living. And if you stop learning, you die where you stand, long before your heart stops beating. Growth doesn't just ask for effort. It demands education. Not the kind you memorize. The kind you embody. Because the truth is, the world changes faster than your pride can keep up. And if you don't become a student of the storm, you'll drown in waves you were too arrogant to study. You want to rise? Then get humble. Get hungry. Get obsessed with learning. Not casually. Not occasionally. Relentlessly. Look at the titans. The real ones. Da Vinci studied anatomy, engineering, architecture, astronomy, not because he had to, but because he couldn't not. He was addicted to curiosity. Abraham Lincoln? Self-educated by candlelight. He didn't just read to read, he read to lead. To free minds before he ever freed bodies. Maya Angelou? Every page she read, every pain she survived, became a weapon in her pen. Her knowledge wasn't just academic, it was ancestral. You're here not just to win. You're here to understand why you're winning. To sharpen your edge. To expand your vision. To evolve faster than your fear. And that doesn't happen by accident. Learning is not something you finish. It's not a phase. It's a fire. A ritual. A way of life. Because the world will keep throwing you into new levels. And every level comes with a new language, a new code, a new set of laws. If you don't speak the language, you lose. So study. Study people. Study pain. Study patterns. Study the game you say you want to master. Whether it's business, leadership, love, art, war, it doesn't matter. Become a scholar of your own potential. Because no matter how powerful you feel today, you are only as strong as the last lesson you learned. Let go of your ego. Let go of the idea that you know enough. That mindset is a death sentence wrapped in comfort. You're either upgrading your operating system every single day, or you're becoming obsolete. It's not enough to be passionate. You must become proficient. It's not enough to have experience. You must extract wisdom from it. You don't just live through pain, you study it. You don't just succeed, you analyze why you did. You don't just fail, you dissect the failure until it hands you a map. And let's talk about the people who win and stay winning. They read. They listen. They ask. They question. They seek out people smarter, wiser, sharper, and they sit down like students, even when they could stand like masters. Because they know. The minute you think you're above learning, you're beneath your destiny. The market changes. Culture shifts. Technology evolves. So should you. Your brain should be on fire every day. Not overwhelmed. Engaged. Not scattered. Sharpened. Because life is a test that never announces itself. And every moment you spend learning, you're arming yourself for the next war. Learning is not passive. It's aggressive. It's how you punch above your weight class. It's how you outgrow your old self and step into a version that your enemies won't recognize, and your ancestors would salute. You want to sit at bigger tables? Understand the conversations happening there. You want to break generational chains? Study the locks. You want to lead? Learn how to follow first. That's the paradox of mastery. It starts with humility. And humility is a gift most people leave unopened. Don't be most people. Be the one who never stops learning. The one who breaks cycles because they took the time to understand them. The one who turns every room into a classroom. Every loss into a lecture. Every win into a case study. Learn from the broken. Learn from the brilliant. Learn from children. Learn from elders. Learn from everyone. Because everyone you meet knows something you don't. And if you listen closely, you'll find clues. To life. To love. To legacy. Your brain is a blade. If you don't sharpen it daily, it rusts. So read the books. Watch the masters. Ask the questions that scare you. Listen more than you speak. And apply what you learn, fast. Because knowledge without execution is just intellectual decoration. It looks impressive, but it doesn't build anything. You must live your learning. You must bleed it into your work. You must let it reshape you daily, until the version of you that was stuck no longer exists. This is your new way of life. Every day you rise to study, to outgrow your ignorance, to transcend your excuses, to dismantle the limits placed on you by parents, teachers, lovers, society. Learn. Because someone is counting on you to know what they never got the chance to learn. Learn. Because you can't lead people somewhere you've never intellectually explored. Learn. Because you weren't just born to fight. You were born to understand the war you're fighting. And the one who understands the battlefield wins it. Chapter 12. Rise beyond victory. Become the standard. You focused on you. You silenced the noise. You burned the old map. You built the discipline. You suffered through silence, through doubt, through rejection. You walked the lonely road when no one clapped, when no one noticed, when no one believed. And now? Now, you're standing in the aftermath. The ground behind you littered with the versions of yourself you had to kill to arrive here. The weak thoughts. The soft stories. The borrowed beliefs. The masks you wore to fit in. What's left is you. Not the you they expected. Not the you used to be. But the standard the world will now measure by. Because victory is not the end. It's the beginning. They told you to focus on you. They didn't tell you what comes after you win. Here it is. You become the example. You become the blueprint. The storm. The system that shatters the system. You don't just reach the next level. You redefine what the next level is. Because now your life is no longer about you. It's about everyone watching you. It's about everyone who thought they couldn't, until you proved they could. This is the responsibility of rising. This is the weight that crowns bring. It's not just about building your throne. It's about guarding the gates so others can rise behind you. Look around. Every great movement was sparked by someone who leveled up and pulled others with them. Rosa Parks sat down, and millions stood up. Muhammad Ali refused to kneel, and became the voice of a generation. Elon Musk slept on floors and bet his last dollar, and re-engineered entire industries. They didn't just win. They became the standard. Not by shouting louder. Not by begging. But by embodying something too undeniable to ignore. That's what you must do now. You're not chasing dreams anymore. You're leading with them. You're living proof that what they said was impossible isn't. So how do you lead now? By holding the line. By maintaining the discipline when success tries to soften you. By guarding your mind when applause tempts you to relax. By sharpening your edge after the battle is won. You see, the world loves to celebrate the arrival. But legends, they keep building after the cameras stop rolling. Because they know you don't rise to the top and stay there. You become the top. The ceiling. The reference point. The standard. This is when most people fall off. They got what they wanted. So they slow down. They stop learning. They let the hunger fade. Not you. You double down. You understand that what you've built isn't the goal. It's the foundation. Now the real work begins. Now you train others by your presence. Now you walk into rooms and elevate the temperature just by breathing. Not because of ego. Because of excellence. Because you are no longer becoming. You are being. So stand tall. You are no longer trying to prove anything. You're here to show others what's possible. You're here to remind people that pain is not permanent. That discipline can be divine. That broken things can still build empires. You're here to live a life that teaches without preaching. That leads without shouting. That awakens people, not with speeches, but with standards. Your peace? It's not bought. It's earned, through every war you refuse to lose. Your confidence? It's not volume. It's violence, forged in discipline, in loss, in clarity. Your vision? It's not for sale. It's a torch, lighting the path for those behind you who can't yet see. And you know now, there is no finish line. There's only evolution. There's only what's next. Because winners stop. But legends level up. Again. And again. And again. You don't rest on reputation. You don't coast on memory. You become the new force that sets the bar higher. Not out of greed. Out of gratitude. Because now you know, this life is not about taking more. It's about becoming more. And what you become is not for you alone. It's for every broken soul who sees your story and decides to stand back up. You focused on you. You rose. You suffered. You survived. You sharpened. And now you lead. Let this final truth carve into your soul. You are the standard now. You are the voice in the silence. You are the flame in the cold. You are the blueprint for someone else's breakthrough. So carry it well. Walk with precision. Move with presence. Own your evolution. And when the next mountain calls, don't hesitate. Level up.